Okay, welcome class. This is a paper that was done on 1st December 2021 and it's human resource accounting. We are going to do question 5 of that paper. Question 5 of the paper done on 1st December. 1st December. Sorry. This is a paper that was done on 1st December 2021. Okay, so question 5. Explain the importance of analyzing human resource costs in an organization. Explain the importance of analyzing human resource costs in an organization. Number 1, it's used for planning purposes, and this guides the decision making process, especially about the future costs, and it also helps in resource allocation. I will call it the organization function. It helps us organize resources. When we analyze the human resource cost, we know which centers have consumed what amount of resources. It's not easy to allocate, and organizing and planning are a little bit different, because organizing, there's much that goes into organizing. Resource allocation and getting the right people to whom to assign that responsibility of being in charge of the resources. So there's some slight difference, and that's why these 2 points qualify to be different. So we have planning purposes. Planning is just predicting the future with some level of certainty, especially if you have objective facts with you that can help make the decision. And then resource allocation is now, or organizing is where now we allocate the resources to the various fragments or departments in the organization for utilization in achieving the goals of the organization. So one of the key importance of analyzing human resource costs is that it helps us to predict the future with some level of certainty, and then after doing that, we can now allocate resources based on the analysis that we got from the human resource cost. And of course, it goes without saying that controlling also comes in as one of the important reasons why human resource costs should be analyzed in an organization. Controlling is simply where we compare the predetermined results, what we expect, versus the actual results, and of course the gap, we take corrective measures. So it's only if we analyze this human resource cost that we are able to get the gaps, which will now allow us to take the corrective measures. Otherwise, if we don't analyze those human resource costs, how are you going to know the gap, the misses? So one of the key critical importance of analyzing human resource costs is that it helps us identify the gaps, and those gaps will inform us on the corrective measures that we are supposed to take. And then the other importance of analyzing human resource is that it makes communication easier. Communication, especially to the authorities, to the bosses, to the stakeholders, to the shareholders. It makes it very easy. When you analyze your costs, the human resource costs, analyzing means that you go deeper into understanding, classifying them, and then presentation becomes very easy in a manner that you can easily be understood. Especially when you talk about figures, figures take the points home, as opposed to just coming up with those general statements which may leave a lot of questions unanswered. And that will make communication very poor, because communication is about understanding. Are you passing the information to the people, and are they getting the gist out of it? If they can't get the gist, if the information you are giving them can't answer the questions they have, then that communication is poor. But with the figures here, you have analyzed all the costs. You're giving them the figures, you analyze figures, it becomes very easy. Communication becomes top-notch. So, simply put, analyzing human resource costs helps in improving communication, especially communication to the bosses, or even, let's just put it, the stakeholders in general. So it clarifies communication and enhances the whole process. The other reason why analyzing human cost is could be very important is that it helps in justification of the programs. Justification of the programs. Yeah. Especially when we talk about cost-benefit analysis. You know, for a program to go through, you must justify that the benefits are higher than the costs. So that calls for analyzing all the human resource costs, or all the costs that are related to that program before you can sell the idea and also propose the benefits that will come in as a result of adopting those costs. So one of the importance of analyzing human resource costs is that it goes a long way into buying the justification of the idea, any idea that you want to present, if it's a worthy project or if it's not a worthy project. So I'll go with those ones. I'll go with those 5 points, and these 5 points will be able to give you 10 marks. You can always improve on this, but these 5 points are very important. Of course, others like like motivation. Motivation obviously comes in, because when we talk about importance of analyzing human resource costs, motivation comes in because when we know the costs involved, then we might be motivated to reduce the costs, especially if the costs are high, or we might be motivated to work even harder, so that we can recover on the costs that have been incurred. So it's either way. We might be motivated to work even harder because the costs are high. Can you work harder so that we can cover these costs? Or if the costs are high, we might be motivated to work more efficiently and effectively to reduce the costs. So it can motivate the staff either way, if they know how much they are incurring in a project in terms of costs. If they are being paid highly, then they might be motivated to work even, to improve on their productivity, to justify their pay. So all these are points. Just pick any of these and then also explain. A benchmarking exercise may face challenges which limit its success. Explain the challenges likely to be experienced in carrying out the exercise. A benchmarking exercise may face challenges which limit its success. Explain the challenges likely to be experienced in carrying out the exercise. Number 1, management support. Lack of management support. Where you go benchmark, you come up with all the good ideas that you can ever think of, but the management doesn't support them. So the whole exercise just becomes an exercise in futility. You go get good ideas which the management can support. The idea simply, everything you got from the other organization, from the benchmarking exercise, comes to a dead end. So lack of management support is a key challenge. And then culture, difference in cultural backgrounds or environment. Cultural background or environment. Operational environment. Difference in operational environment. You go do benchmarking in another country, they have different laws, they have different political system altogether, they have their economics factors are totally different from your economic factors, their culture and upbringing different from yours, everything, legal, their laws are different from yours, so you benchmark, but when you come to try and implement what you've benchmarked here, it can't work because all the macroeconomic factors are different. So difference in culture, I think I will just say difference in business environment, background. So possibly, I would say if you want to benchmark, the best benchmarking should be done in an area where you share a lot of commonalities. You have homogeneous factors, see a lot of similarities. Otherwise, if you go do benchmarking with companies that you don't share, there are literally no similarities or very few similarities, then chances are that the environments that you're operating in might be a challenge. Even if you want to implement what you found there in environments that are totally different, that might be a challenge. So yes, different environments might be a challenge, which will limit the success of a benchmarking exercise. The other challenge is lack of know-how. Where you go with the team that benchmarks it, the team that is doing the benchmarking doesn't have the know-how on how to benchmark. So they don't have the parameters, they don't know the best metrics to use. So the whole exercise just becomes a futile, an exercise in futility, because they don't know the right tools, the right metrics, the right parameters that can be used to do the benchmarking exercise. So lack of know-how or a team that is not well skilled can be a challenge to the benchmarking exercise. Of course, the cost is a challenge. Most benchmarking exercises are quite expensive. They are resource intensive. So this becomes a challenge in itself. Time, of course, is also a challenge, because it requires a lot of time if you are to get the best results. But otherwise, if you just go there very fast and you don't analyze to the core, then you might get results that are not well interpreted, and that might not give you the best outcome. So for you to understand that other organization well, the metrics and how the cost-effect relationship, you need a lot of time. And time might not be a luxury here. You might not be having all the time to go deeper into doing this kind of into benchmarking. So that becomes a possible challenge. Let me see if there's any other points that I could have left out. A lack of multiple skills. I think that one will go with the lack of know-how for the team that is doing that. So this one will put time constraints. And then I think let's just talk of conflict of interest. Or compromise. Compromised results. Conflict of interest or compromised results. Sometimes some of these things are influenced by our own interests and not the organizational interests. So those ones might also lead to challenges, especially if we do benchmarking for our own, to justify maybe our decisions, so that instead of doing a benchmarking exercise with an organization that we can learn from, we go for an organization which will basically make us feel superior to gain the short-term favors, maybe from the shareholders. And it's very common also with management, so that they can appear like they are doing well. So at the end of the day, the benchmarking exercise doesn't show the correct picture if there is conflict of interest. If there are some other interests other than the objectivity, being objective to the goal or to the cause, then that can also affect the whole exercise. So pick any 5 out of this and we'll be good to go. Thank you. Let's meet in the next question.